Welcome to the IPP Demonstration Sites team, Inclusionary Practices Spotlight on Master Scheduling. I'm Cassie Martin, the Demonstration Sites Project Lead, and I'll be walking you through a brief overview of Master Scheduling and present a case study from one of our IPP demonstration sites. A school's master schedule is a vital but often overlooked system that affects what students learn, who teaches them, and who learns with them. Master schedules encourage collaboration, common planning, and supporting all students' learning in general education classrooms. Oftentimes, a good master schedule considers the services of students who qualify for special education first, to ensure that all students have the opportunity to engage in core content, learning in general education classrooms. This can be a shift in thinking and practice for schools who have a history of scheduling services for students with disabilities after a schedule is built, and this can lead to separate and siloed systems and a loss of community and engagement in the larger school community. A master schedule is a function of what we are trying to create. It is truly the foundation of building an inclusive school. Without an inclusive master schedule that supports all students having access to core content, general education, and the multi-tier supports that all students need, we continue to reinforce special education as a place instead of what we know it is, a service that supports students to access general education through specially designed instruction, accommodations, and universal supports. When you have a master schedule in place that considers the needs of all learners and all educators, it opens up a ton of options and possibilities for collaboration and shifts attitudes concerning what it means to be an inclusive school. Master schedules allow for inclusive PLCs and common planning time, which in turn can result in more frequent progress monitoring, interdisciplinary lesson planning and design, and more responsive instruction. It creates access and engagement in core content because students with special education services are present in the general education classroom for both instruction and application, with the supports and services they need. Most importantly, it demonstrates a shift in philosophy and commitment to a more inclusive culture by taking these steps to take the learning of all students into consideration from the very beginning. As already noted, in order to fully maximize staffing, in order to transition from special education being a place to a service, ensuring that special education services are scheduled from the very beginning contributes to a more inclusive culture. Also, from there, you can build upon those classes and services to imagine how you might use those services and supports in a more flexible manner to support all students. So you're maximizing resources and creating equitable opportunities in classrooms. Master schedule should be developed in response to the needs of students, not because it's convenient for staff. Also, a master schedule should have some flexibility as the needs of students change. The services should follow student need, not necessarily be tied to a classroom. A consistent master schedule allows for this because it provides consistency across grade levels and/or content areas so structures and supports can travel. In addition, when common planning time is built into a master schedule, it allows for more frequent data analysis protocols so educators are being really responsive to what their students need and can shift supports and services accordingly. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have structures and systems in place for those common planning times when creating a PLC culture. When a master schedule supports this kind of very important work, it's critical to take full advantage of these opportunities to build inclusive and equitable systems that support students in general education classrooms. When making the change to a clear and consistent master schedule, there can be pushback because everyone needs to be all in and has a role in making the master schedule work. It takes commitment from all educators and support staff, from itinerant staff. Everyone has a role in delivering a master schedule that works for all students. This can require a change in mindset about how special education services are delivered. It sometimes requires thinking outside the box about resources and how buildings are utilizing their staff. It also requires a commitment to strong Tier 1 instruction in order to provide that really high quality instruction for all students. And as we always say, as we do our work with our demonstration sites and visiting schools, inclusion is a cultural initiative. So in order to truly include all students, we need to reframe our thinking and our practices around teaching and learning for all students. Just shifting the way we deliver special education services is not enough. One of our IPP demonstration sites is McMicken Elementary in the Highline School District in SeaTac, Washington. McMicken has transformed in the last 6 years under the leadership of Principal Alexandria Haas, and one of their high leverage moves was reconceptualizing and rebuilding their master schedule to better support all students. McMicken's vision was to create an inclusive culture that owned all students, creating a culture that was collaborative and equitable. They knew that in order to do this, they had to have a master schedule that supported their vision. In order to lay the groundwork, McMicken started to prioritize. What was key to have in place as they were building their master schedule, and what pieces would drive their commitment to high quality and rigorous instructional program for all their students. McMicken had experienced some groundbreaking findings from a co-taught pilot class they launched and decided to scale the model. To do this, they had to think about special education services first and how they're going to staff co-taught classrooms. Because a special education teacher sat on the grade level PLCs, they were able to be a little more flexible with their co-taught classrooms, where some of their co-taught classrooms had a special educator and a general education teacher. Because a special education teacher sat on their grade level PLCs, they were also able to have additional co-taught classes that included 2 general education teachers and one that had an instructional coach and a general education teacher, because they were all benefiting from the oversight and supervision on that grade level PLC from that special educator. McMicken also created success groups, which were intervention blocks that were fluid based on data, but that also allowed for special education teachers to provide additional SDI to students on their caseloads. In order to increase the collaborative time to make all this work, staff meetings were turned over to professional development, focusing on data analysis protocols and building that inclusive PLC culture. What was most critical was that McMicken made sure that everyone was involved, including community agencies and families, which led to greater buy-in, ownership, and sustainability, and later growth. McMicken highlights from the essential master schedule how-tos. Make sure that special education services drive the master schedule. They considered different service delivery models and partnerships to meet the needs of all students, like co-teaching and success groups. The common planning time and collaboration was key. Grade level teams had ongoing common planning time, but also had 3 release days a year to dig deep into the curriculum and collaborate. These all-day sessions also include observations in other teachers' classrooms around specific inclusionary practices. McMicken also had an amazing assistant principal that worked very hard with the district to make sure that the itinerant teachers, like PE, art, music, could be scheduled at specific times to allow for that block scheduling. This was necessary because these educators were often spread across buildings, the itinerant educators. So in order to build the master schedule, there were a lot of logistics and moving pieces involved in order to realize McMicken's vision. They needed to make sure there was enough coverage for recess and lunches, and that intervention blocks were supported by classified staff. It was at these initial steps where they also locked down those itinerant schedules, which is not an easy task. Next, when teachers determined the time and content, reading and math, for each intervention block and assigned classified staff to those blocks, then once the support schedule was figured out, grade level teams determined when core content would be taught in order for those sessions to be uninterrupted and seen as sacred times. Here's an example of McMicken's master schedule. In the blue, you can see the success groups. White is core instruction. You'll notice some of those are co-taught classes, and those blocks of specialist times allow for common planning, and the specialist times are in orange. Here's another breakdown of the master schedule. Again, green recess, blue success groups or intervention blocks, orange specialists, grade level common planning, and white core instructional blocks, several of which you can see include co-teaching partnerships. Here's an example of how 2 of the special education teachers supported students. You will see co-taught supports and instruction occurring during success groups, but no pull-out instruction. I hope this brief overview and case study leaves you with a greater understanding of the importance of a master schedule and how it helps to create the foundation for an inclusive school. A master schedule improves outcomes for students and promotes equity because it impacts what, where, and with whom students learn. And as we know, as we do things that are better for kids, it's typically better for adults too. Thank you for watching and or listening to this IPP Demonstration Site's Inclusionary Practice Spotlight on Master Scheduling. Please check out our tip sheets for a two-pager on master scheduling and take advantage of the resources listed here. Again, I'm Cassie Martin, and have a great rest of the day.